Want to watch football without the restrictions of blackouts or cable? Check out expressvpn.com to help you get access to all the live games. Sign up today using the link in the description to get 3 free months. Kia ora, brothers. It's the director. Chargers fans, what time is it? Pretty late for a video. Been a while since we've done a twofer, but holy smokes, dudes. The Raiders just traded for superstar Davante Adams. Okay, everybody, let's all calm down. I know this is a really big move. Raiders fans, I'm sure, are going to be flooding into this video to see the reaction of a Chargers fan. I'm going to say my initial reaction when I saw this news was, thank God we signed J.C. Jackson. And he won't be as good with Carr. But truthfully, this did throw another huge twist into the chaos that is the AFC West. Because let's face it, right? Adams is the best wide receiver in the league, and he could still be a huge problem for the Chargers. And I will say, you know, the Chiefs and even the Broncos, like, this definitely made the AFC West that much more interesting. And if any of us have a chance, I'm saying any of us, including the Chiefs, have a chance at making it into the postseason, we're going to have to fight tooth and nail with all the firepower and superstars we're seeing, like, spread out throughout this entire division. This is absolutely insane, man. I will also add, kind of more to the point of this video, I do believe this could trigger another counter signing for the Chargers. It could very much so do it for the same, you know, with the Denver Broncos and the Chiefs as well. Because, yeah, the whole division's on notice, man. You're going to have to keep up with your wallet if you want a shot at the postseason. So we're going to be going over some of the things I think the Chargers could do to counter a Davante Adams signing to the Raiders. It should be an interesting one. Question in the comments for you guys. Would you rather the Chargers add a legit defensive back to help counter Davante Adams, or more firepower on offense to help Herbert if he does need to stack the score? Let me know in the comments. With that, guys, let's get into this one. Before we do, hit us up with a like and sub if you do enjoy this Chargers content. The small amount of time you guys take to hit the like, sub, and bell notification helps me out a lot. Let's get into this one. Lights, camera, action. Davante Adams to the Las Vegas Raiders, and how the Chargers can counter. All right, guys. Adams to the Raiders. Wow, this division is really throwing all their chips down at the same time. A lot of times I think to myself, like, oh, how unfortunate that the year the Chargers decide to go all in, it seems like everybody else in the AFC West has decided to do the same thing. Definitely going to make that tasking to get into the postseason that much harder, and I'm very much so shocked to see this trade go down today. However, we did know that Adams could potentially land in Las Vegas. He's got connections with Derek Carr. They played ball together in college, whatever. It happened, okay? In retrospect, though, the Raiders did have to give up something, the same way that the Denver Broncos had to give up a lot for Russell Wilson. The Raiders gave up their first round and second round picks in 2022 in order to acquire him, and they're also going to be paying him north of $28 million a year. But in the end, this is definitely the kind of move they needed to make to stay relevant in the AFC West. And now, once again, there's going to be another team the Chargers definitely have to worry about in order to get into the postseason. Now, a question I've been hearing people ask a lot since the signing of Davante was, have the Chargers done enough to make the postseason? My answer is yes, okay? The defense is on another level, but with how things are shaping out, there's absolutely no guarantee for anyone in the AFC West to make the postseason, including the Chiefs. You could argue that the Bolts have an answer for, you know, Davante Adams in J.C. Jackson, and I think that is definitely one of the most important things that we did this offseason now that Davante Adams is playing with the Vegas Raiders. You'd be right. You'd be right. The Chargers have their answer in JC. If we had to rely on Asante Samuel or Mike Davis, we would probably get stepped on. And I love him. I love Asante. I think he would be up to the challenge, but you really need a J.C. Jackson grade player in order to go up against a guy like Davante Adams. Now, in terms of pushing back against the Raiders, I think the roster that we have right now does match pretty well, right? We have DJ or Derwin James on Darren Waller. We've got Asante Samuel Jr. on Renfro. We got J.C. Jackson on Davante Adams. You could also add an elite pass rush to that mix in Bosa and Mack. I think the Chargers defense is very much so up to the task, but that doesn't mean we can't do better, right? Which is why cornerback has all of a sudden been so high on my draft board still, right? I think the Chargers still to this day, even after all these moves, could definitely pursue a cornerback or another defensive back, I should say. You never know. So I don't know, guys. I think we're up to the challenge, but this definitely made things a little more interesting. Thank God we got J.C. Jackson, though, because this is definitely one of those things that if we hadn't gotten J.C. yet and he was still on the market, he would have been a lot more expensive, maybe unobtainable for the Chargers at this point. Next up, the Chargers should still or could still make another splash in free agency. I think they have another move up their sleeves, okay? Many will argue that we do not have the cap space to pull this off. And on the surface, you are absolutely right. But the cap, as you can imagine, is very malleable, okay? You can move money around. If you guys want more details on that, check out the video I posted this morning. Now, with an all-in mentality, I feel like creating more money is definitely on the table for guys even like Tom Telesco, who, habitually just doesn't do that sort of thing. I don't want to get anybody's hopes up, but if it were me in this position and I see the AFC West and I see the state it's in and I see how much firepower is being brought to the table, I push back. Okay, so immediately when I read the news, this tweet that you're seeing here on the screen popped up in my head, and I'm going to read it for you. It says, with the recent news of Adams to Las Vegas, this tweet instantly flashed in my mind. Just as the Chargers answered the Russ signing with Khalil Mack, I could see them bolstering their corners with Stephon Gilmore to help answer Adams. He held Adams to 15 yards on 4 passes in his area the last time they met. And then you guys will see the clip underneath. Now, what I'm referring to in this tweet is this tweet by Mark Garofolo the other day on March 6th saying, keep an eye on the Chargers in the free agent corner market. They could be in the mix for Gilmore and or Jackson. That's a big detail. And or. Now, yes, rumor is that we were in play for both of these corners, and this could still technically happen. Gilmore was electric versus Adams the last time they played. Can he still keep up? I would still say so, yes. Gilmore exists outside of the realm where age really starts to hinder you. I think he's still up to the task. I do really have to stress, however, that right tackle is still at the very, very top of my list as far as free agents are concerned, but I can't rule out another splash on defense for the Chargers either. And Stephon Gilmore just went up my board even a little bit as far as likeliness for the Chargers to pursue. We've already been connected to going after both. We have J.C. Jackson. If the Chargers were really serious about bringing on a Stephon Gilmore, I think this might be the element that helps push him into that decision. Another move in the secondary would make any mistake by the quarterback punishable by pick. I like that. Punishable by pick. Another DB that's been getting a lot of buzz in the Chargers community has been Honey Badger. I'm seeing a ton of buzz in the Charger community regarding this man. And I think it's for good reason, right? We need more playmakers back there. I guess, again, I wouldn't say that Nasir Adderley would be pushed out. I just think he would be utilized a little bit differently. So I wouldn't say he would push him completely out of the scheme, right? But I do think this makes some sense for the Chargers. Before this signing of Davante Adams, I would have maybe said Honey Badger to the Bolts is a maybe, but very unlikely. Now I won't say that that has completely changed in my mind, but it has moved the needle a little bit. And the question is, has it done the same thing for Tom Telesco and Brandon Staley? I would have to argue maybe, because Honey Badger could really thrive in the system with the Bolts. He is, and stated by Staley, we want more DBs on the field. And this would be a very big step in order to accomplish that. In an effort to try and contain guys like Adams, Judy, and even Tyreek Hill, this would be a big move. My only holdup is definitely the money, because the Chargers do not have the same massive cap that they did when they started the offseason. He's the best safety on the market, and I think there's going to be teams willing to pay him a lot of money. But he does seem like the kind of dude who might take a smaller deal in order to stick it to the Chiefs twice a year. So I wouldn't rule it out completely for the Chargers. Again, if they wanted to, if they still had to pay Tyrann Mathieu a lot of money, they could make the money to make that happen. If they really wanted it, they can make it happen. But I still think it's less likely, but a little more likely now that Davante Adams is in the mix. Now, more realistic, in my opinion, is adding a guy like Jaron Kearse, the former Dallas Cowboy. The last I heard, they are nowhere close to a deal yet, and I think his pairing with Derwin would allow us to add way more versatility on how we utilize our safeties in the box. So keep an eye on those two guys when it comes to bolstering the DBs. The next, we got fighting fire with fire. Another move I think the Chargers could make is adding a wide receiver of their own, okay? Yes, there are some decent names in free agency that we could make happen, but I heavily favor the draft in terms of value, as far as your money and dollars spent, and speed this year. I think this is one of those drafts you want to go in on wide receiver. And if the Chargers defense, still find it difficult to slow down teams in the AFC West, I think we will need to keep up offensively. So wide receiver definitely shot up my board a little bit as far as, likeliness for the Chargers to go after one. Because guys like Jameson Williams, who you're seeing here, Chris Olave, Garrett Wilson, even Jahan Dotson have definitely climbed for me. And the element of speed feels like it really is the missing ingredient to this offense. There's a huge chance that we unlock a Mahomes/Tyreek potential in Justin Herbert by pairing him up with a receiver that can utilize his huge arm. Unlock the deep ball. So if you find another way to fight this Davante Adams signing, I think getting a speedy wide receiver wouldn't be a bad way to go about it. Next, we got dial up the pressure. I also think the Chargers still have a good shot at adding more help on the defensive line. Okay, you guys see Akeem Hicks here. I don't think it's as pressing as an issue as it was before because, yes, we definitely turned over that line. We look really good now. But adding like a guy like Hicks would still be huge, and I still think it makes sense for this team. Hicks is a dual threat, in my opinion. His presence stomps out the run, but he also hurries the quarterback. That's why Hicks has been so heavily linked to the Bolts. Him and his connection with Brandon Staley. It feels like most players that have come to the Chargers are coming because of Brandon Staley. I think that connection still does exist, even though we haven't heard much buzz revolving around him actually coming to the Chargers since then. Now, the Chargers could also opt in drafting guys like Jordan Davis or Devontae Wyatt as well. So I do think those guys still on the table for me in April as well. Either way, I do have to point out, and if there's Raiders fans watching, you're not going to like this. This is still Derek Carr we're talking about, okay? As Joey Bosa so eloquently put it last season, he tends to fold under pressure. So I think a good answer to push back on this is to add more. Instead of attacking Davante Adams directly, you attack the man that is targeting Davante Adams in the pass game. And then lastly, we'll talk a little bit about the importance of depth, okay? I think there's a very real possibility that the Chargers may already be set in terms of superstars to counter Davante Adams, right? J.C. Jackson now becomes that much more of a crucial move. Again, you pair him up with our pass rushers. I think we already possess a defense to take on the AFC West. I'm pretty confident in that. But I also think, right, this adds a huge emphasis on depth. Because as much as I hate thinking about our guys getting hurt going down, knock on wood, you must be prepared for it. The Chargers have an impressive 10 draft picks in April. And if last season is any indication, we should find some solid depth even in the later rounds. But don't be afraid to pay some guys in free agency as an insurance policy either. Grab a swing tackle, an edge 3, a cornerback 4, running back 2. Make sure that we are safe with the pieces that we have in place. Because like in any NFL season, anything could happen. So my bottom line in this video, it's not going to be a long video today, more of a reaction to the Davante Adams news. This was a huge move by the Raiders. Good on the Raiders. If you're a Raiders fan, I hate admitting it, but man, did that, make my butt cheeks clench just a little bit reading that on Twitter today. I think this move made our lives in the AFC West that much more chaotic. But don't panic, Chargers fans, okay? It sucks to think about facing him twice a year, but our team is more than up to the challenge. This doesn't change the fact that, this doesn't change that fact. However, I do think the Chargers are going to do something in order to retaliate. Whether it be adding another stud on defense, bringing in more firepower for Justin Herbert on offense, or simply doubling down on depth to keep the machine running in the event of an emergency, I think Tom Telesco and Brandon Staley have a plan. The truth of the matter is, however, whoever makes it out of the division into the postseason will have earned every right to be there. And with all these quality opponents to overcome, it could very well be the test that helps the Chargers improve enough and grow enough in order to become Super Bowl threats. So again, iron sharpens iron. We're going up against some quality opponents here in the AFC West. If we can make it out into the postseason, watch out for us to make to the Super Bowl as well. Okay, guys? This AFC West is absolutely insane. So, guys, let me know in the comment section below what you think about this whole Davante Adams news. I wanted to put out a very quick video in order to give you guys my thoughts on the situation. As far as my own question at the top of the show, would I rather add a DB to help counter Adams or more firepower for Herbert? I think you can get away with both. But if, let's say, I was having to pick one position in the draft, I think it depends really on value, but I kind of lean towards cornerback. If the Chargers can get a nice corner in round 1, I think that DB unit out there is looking really, really good. So let me know in the comment section below what you guys think. Well, guys, thank you so much for joining me. This has been The Director. Hit us up with a like and sub on your way out if you did enjoy this content. We'll see you next time, and as always, bolt up and stay frosty.